Have you ever found yourself watching a nature doc, you see the queen bee, and you think to yourself, wait a minute, why is there no king bee? Well, it's a great question, and today we're diving right into it.
I mean, it really does seem like it should have one, right? You've got this super organized, bustling little city. There's a queen on the throne. You've got thousands of loyal workers. It's a whole monarchy, just, smaller and buzzier.
So, if we've got the queen, where's her other half? Who's the guy ruling alongside her?
Well, the short, sweet, and simple answer is biology took one look at the idea of a king bee and just said, nope, not going to happen. And the reasons why are absolutely fascinating.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk genetics. This is probably the biggest roadblock for any male bee, or drone, as they're called, with dreams of royalty. Turns out they're at a huge disadvantage from the very start. It all comes down to this really wild system called haplodiploidy. Now, that is a mouthful, I know, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple, and it controls literally everything about who's who in the hive.
And this slide right here lays it all out. All the female bees, that's the queen and all the workers, they come from fertilized eggs. They get one set of chromosomes from their mom, the queen, and one from their dad. That makes them diploid. But the males, the drones, they hatch from unfertilized eggs. So a male bee has a mother, but he has no father. That means he only has one set of chromosomes, making him haploid. He's basically a genetic half package.
And the hive is absolutely ruthless about this rule. On the very rare occasion a fertilized egg does start developing into a male, making him genetically on par with the queen, the worker bees can actually sniff it out. And what do? They eat the larva. Instantly. Yeah. The hive has a zero-tolerance policy for any potential kings. So, right, genetics are not on his side. But what about his one big job in life? His contribution to the royal bloodline? Well, let's just say bee romance is, not exactly a fairy tale. Okay, so here's how it goes down. A brand new queen takes off on what's called a nuptial flight, where she mates with a bunch of drones high up in the air. It sounds pretty epic, doesn't it? But for the drones, the grand finale is, well, it's the end. During the act, his entire reproductive organ explodes. And yeah, he dies on the spot. Let me just say that again so it sinks in. No successful male survives mating. It's not a bug, it's a feature. The drone's one and only purpose is a suicide mission. So you can see why that's not exactly a great quality for a long-reigning monarch. And why this crazy one-and-done system? Because the queen is a master of efficiency. From that single flight, she collects and stores enough sperm to last her entire life. We're talking up to 5 years of laying eggs. She's completely self-sufficient after that, which makes a king hanging around totally pointless. All right, so his genetics are a problem and his love life is fatal. But surely he's got other duties around the kingdom, right? Let's take a look at the drone's official resume. His to-do list is basically a to-don't list. He doesn't go out and find food. He doesn't help build the honeycomb. He has no stinger, so he can't even help defend the hive. He's not even good at feeding himself. The worker bees have to feed him. His only job is to fly around and hope to get lucky. That's it. That's the whole job. And what happens when mating season is over? Well, once autumn rolls around and food starts getting scarce, the workers basically decide they've had enough of these lazy freeloaders, so they grab the drones, physically kick them out of the hive, and leave them to starve in the cold. You don't see that happening to a real king. Now, what's really interesting is that some insects actually do have kings. Just look at termites. So why do they have one but bees don't? It all comes down to the sperm, believe it or not. Termite sperm can't really swim on its own, so the king has to stick around for, constant refertilization. But bee sperm can't swim, so the queen just collects it once, stores it, and she's good to go, running the whole show by herself. Okay, so if the biology is this clear-cut, where in the world did we get the idea of a king bee in the first place? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. We humans just assumed their society worked like ours. For thousands of years, people looked at a beehive, saw the biggest, most important-looking bee, and just assumed it had to be a dude, a king. You had ancient writers like Aristotle talking all about the king bee. It wasn't until the 1600s when a scientist named John Swammerdam got a microscope that he was able to prove, guys, that's not a king, that's a queen. And that's really the heart of it. The king bee wasn't some fallen monarch who lost his throne. He wasn't outmaneuvered or defeated. He just never existed. He was a myth from the start.
So there you have it. The hive has always been a queendom. It's an empire run by one incredibly powerful female, her thousands of devoted daughters, and for just a little while every year, a bunch of very, very disposable boyfriends. Forget a king. The real story is so much more brutal and way more interesting. Thanks for tuning in.